Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to another Monday Morning Art Talk. I'm Steven Silver, character designer and teacher, dedicated to helping you learn about the art industry and living up to your potential. Whippy! Alright, so today I want to address someone else who had written a letter to me. They wrote a nice long letter and it was just, really tapped into some personal things. But the end result when, after I read it, I just kind of wanted them to encapsulate everything. Like, what's the real heart of the question that they're looking for? But before I read this to you, I'm going to embarrass myself just a little bit, just because... it'll be fun to do nonetheless, but, Queen is just, just a great band. And, I really love that. I don't like all their music, but I like some of their music. And I went to see that Bohemian Rhapsody movie a few weeks ago, and it was just like, I liked it, And just listening to the songs again, it was great just to sometimes you go to a movie and you hear something and you go, oh, I want to listen. I haven't heard that in such a long time. I want to listen to it. And so what, this song that they did was I Want to Live Forever. And it's an awesome song if you haven't, Who Wants to Live Forever? If you haven't heard it, it's beautiful. But one of the lyrics in that sort of says something, it really struck me. And I love when there's certain things and I go, wow, man, that's so meaningful and it's so awesome. And I just kind of want to share it. So, and because I can't use the actual song for that, I could read it, but I thought I'm going to sing it. So I'm going to sing it for you right now. But, that lyric is, what is the thing that builds our dreams yet slips away from us? That's my singing. That's all you're going to get. But I love it. What is the thing that builds our dreams yet slips away from us? To me, that's powerful. What is that thing? What is that thing that builds our dreams yet slips away from us? And to me, well, it's kind of interesting because the song doesn't really answer the question. I mean, it does and it doesn't. It's an interesting thing. But what is the thing that builds our dreams yet slips away from us is our mind. What builds our dreams is our mind, our creativity when we're young. Our dreams are built by the desires that we want to someday grow up and be a fireman. We someday want to grow up and be Batman, or we want to, name the superhero, name the power you want, name that superpower. What would your superpower be? Mine would be, I would love to, I don't know if it's a superpower, but I think it'd be awesome to be able to freeze time. Just to freeze time. That would be pretty cool. So I think just things like that was the thing that built my dream, yet slips away from us, right? So it's this idea when we're young, and you imagine like when you're a kid, and I remember hearing it once, like someone had mentioned, I don't know where it came from, but they're like, what is it about that thing that when you're a kid and all of a sudden the teacher goes, who has a superpower that they would like to tell us about? Every kid, me, I got a superpower, let me tell the superpower. Because you're uninhibited. You don't care what other people think. You just don't care. It doesn't matter. You're just kind of free and you dream and you got these ideas. And then, I'm going to keep looking at the lyric just to remind me, what is the thing that builds our dreams yet slips away from us? And then as we get older, that thing, our mind, our same thing that built our dream is what slips away from us, because the fear is what makes it slip away from us. We have this ultra fear and all these things and these pressures of what are other people going to think, what are other people going to say, what might happen, what might not happen. And this is what makes those dreams slip away from us. Is the same thing that built our dreams in the first place. And so it's so interesting to me. I love sort of like hearing about that or trying to elaborate on it and think about it and share it with you guys, that what we kind of want to do is not let that happen, is keep those dreams and not let it slip away from us, because that's what we want to do. This is what we decided that we want to do. We want to achieve. We want to try to, get into and try to make happen. I wanted to share that with you. But so I wanted to read you this note, and I'm going to call this person Joe because they didn't want me to mention their name. And I appreciate that, and that's totally cool. But you're right, hi Stephen, thanks for getting back to me. I would say it feels like I am paralyzed in the thought of simply putting myself out there for fear of being exposed as someone who is 34 years old, had a completely different career they did not excel in. So, what he was talking about in the whole initial letter is that he sort of thought he was better than he was when he was younger. He sort of had this attitude, and he didn't really need to get better, yet his brothers and his other family members, started to make a career out of art, but he didn't feel, he thought he was good, so, and then all of a sudden, as he got older, all of a sudden those realities become, in a sense, it's the small fish in a big pond now. All of a sudden, you think you're top of the world because of where you grow up or where you live, and then you face the real world and see what's really out there, and what happens is the internet exposed that. So, you really saw that. Before, you never really used to see that. You used to think, well, I'm the best kid in my class and all that. But now we really see what's out there. I would say it feels like I'm paralyzed in the thought of simply putting myself out there for the fear of being exposed as someone who was 34 years old, had a completely different career, they did not excel in. Perhaps had artistic talent they didn't nurture properly. So that was part of not nurturing it, so there's the fear of all of a sudden people again looking at you going, you're not really as good as you're supposed to be. Well, you didn't get an award. You didn't make it. I'm only 25 years old or 30 and I got this, and brag, and all this stuff. Again, it all catches up with you. It doesn't really matter in the scheme of things. But again, this is a paralyzing fear that people later on in life, they could be 50 years old and get to that point. Like, what have I really done? What if I try to put myself out there? What are people going to, again, it's always about what are people going to say? What are people going to think? And when we can start to get over that and be our own little apple tree and not worry about all the other trees in the orchard, just fend for yourself, do what you need to do, because there's an audience for everyone. Someone out there is going to like what you do. Maybe not that person, but that person over there, because art is subjective. And that's the thing that you always got to remember. And I always preach building up your skill set and build your skill level. And I believe in that. I really do. But I also want to say what I believe in is that art is subjective. And that art is who's to say what's right and wrong? Who's to say that painting over there, which just looks like 3 stripes and a dot, is so much better than this freaking, Norman Rockwell in front of, who's to say? One person likes it, one person doesn't, right? Artistic talent has only done, didn't nurture properly, has only done work for friends and family, and feels like more and more doors are closing due to restrictions in time, health, and obligations due to family, economical issues, etc. I understand a lot of the ordinary ways one would go about trying to start a career, but how does one move forward in less than favorable circumstances? I believe I needed this long way around because I don't think I would like the person I would have become had things come easily. And that's very true. It's like, this is the journey. Where you're at right now is a product and a result of what it is that you put into action or didn't put into action 10 years ago, 5 days ago, 2 hours ago. So whatever you do is going to be that eventual outcome. So you can decide that I'm going to decide right now to start putting in the time and try to make things happen. It's not always going to work out the way you want it, but that journey of getting there from point A to point B, we don't want to miss all that. And this is what can make you a better person for him to even come to this realization that this is where he is right now. He's here right now because of what he had to go through. Okay. But how does one move forward in less than favorable circumstances? I believe I needed this long way around because I don't think I would like the person I would have become had things come easily. But I still find myself afraid. what would you consider the best way to move forward for someone who finds himself in such a situation? And that situation is, again, being afraid and the fear. And also the main thing is the less favorable circumstances. You know, again, what is it? The reality is you're the only one that knows the answer. In any of these situations, and that may not be what you want to hear, but the reality is, because I don't know every single health issue you have, your whole economical situation. I don't know, can you spend $50 to rent, I'm just going to throw this out there, not that you do this, but to go set up at a street fair, you know, for a weekend, to do something, and take all the artwork that you've done and just see how people react to it. Just to go and just, I don't care, you're just working on your own, little tinkering around with stuff, but you just kind of want to see how people react. And all day you may sit there and not one person stops by your table. Number one, you might not have an exciting looking booth. You know, it may be bland and boring. That might not stop people. Number two, people might take a look at your work and say, this doesn't suit me. And other people go, hey, this is interesting. Again, subjective. I kind of like this. It's like an impulse when we go to the supermarket and stuff and we see something on the shelf and we go, hey, what's that? I'm going to buy that because of that Butterfinger, because it's there right in front of me. By the way, I love Butterfinger. And so these are, you know, just very important things that, you know, I think is like, you know, the real truth to this. What would you consider the best way to move forward for someone who finds himself in this situation? Again, it's like being afraid and really digging in is, what are you afraid of? What is the real fear? Is the real fear that someone is going to judge you? Is that what you care about? Is that really what you care about? You're a family man, you're 34 years old, you have a wife and you have kids, and you've made it this far, 34 years old. And also I want to mention, and I apologize, and I know the person's watching because they watch every single week. They got a little blue tag with their side profile of a face in it, and I apologize. But he made a great point, and this is the great thing if you get a chance to read the comments. Go back and read what people are writing. But he kind of mentioned was that, you know, from based on the last art talk that I did, is you don't have to make a career out of this, but what you have to do is just do your art and do what you're going to do in life. Do the thing you're going to do in life, whatever you happen to be doing, whether it be working at a supermarket or working at a law firm or wherever you are, or on a car assembly line. Whatever it is that you're working on, whatever it is that you're kind of doing, knowing that art is still a love and art is a passion. Am I going to get a job in this? Is this going to be my livelihood? No, it's not. But does that mean you stop doing art and building up this collection of art and even something to share with your kids or your family or generations to come, or even just for a friend or family member to hang up? But you know what? You left work that day and you came home and you had something to look forward to. In all honesty, you're going to find so much joy in that, because working with clients a lot of the time is a pain in the ass. Only because you're doing what they want you to do. This is what we want. We want this to happen. This is, all of a sudden they're creating oftentimes the picture. Not all the time. Again, listen, art is beautiful. I love it. And I love freelancing. I love doing work and drawing. I'm just saying in general, okay, that you're going to get those projects that you're going to wish that you were just drawing for yourself and doing your own thing. So that's why you have to do it anyway. So the thing is start to realize, what the hell are you afraid of? We're all just made of space dust anyway. But it's nothing. It's just, what are you afraid of? What's the real fear? Oh no, you didn't live up to your brother's where he is, you know. And on a side note, what you did tell me that your brother's working in the industry and has health problems, is in the gaming industry and has suffered health issues because of the stress at work. And I'm not saying don't get into that line of work. If that's something you want to get into, just be prepared. Know that it's going to be hard. And this is why, wherever you can, find those moments to work on stuff for yourself. Guys, it's coming. And what's coming? What's coming? I'll tell you what's coming. What's coming is the day, and it's already begun. You don't need the middleman so much anymore. These big companies that rely on us and depend on us and need us to provide their ideas, we get to be the say. We get to be the game developers. We get to eventually be the game distributors. We get to be the art distributors. We get to be the gallery owners. We get to be the book illustrators, the publisher, the freaking everything. We get to do it all. We get to be everything, and we can do that now. You can do that now. Are you just going to do one thing? No, this is, we dive into multiple things and get involved with different people. We're going to form relationships. We make contacts. We put in the sweat equity amongst our own peers, like I've developed with all the apps that I do. With my program and my partner, Johnny Burns, who I work with, who works in gaming, and he has a successful job and does all that, but we were doing stuff on the side. We were doing stuff for fun on the side, not to be like, oh my God, we want to make billions of dollars off this. Like, hey, you know what? I have an idea. And you go, and I'm going to mention this story again. When I first met Johnny came up to me at a convention, and this is how the universe works. And I was thinking I wanted to make some apps, but didn't know how. I'm like, I have ideas. He shows up at San Diego Comic-Con many years ago and says, hey, I just want to let you know I've started to get into app development. If you have any ideas, let me know. I'm like, oh my God, here it is. I'm putting it out there in the universe. Okay, here's the universe. I'm putting it out there. I'm just like, this is what I want to do. Throwing off those little beep, 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 beep. Throwing off all this stuff that I want to do. This is what I want to do. And all of a sudden, this opportunity presents itself to me. And what do I do? Do I just talk about it, or do you follow through with it? And this is the difference between people who succeed at things and make things happen and people who don't. Those who follow through and those who don't. I tend to be a guy that follows through with things, so I follow through with it. It's not always the time. I may have these ideas and be involved with people and think I'm going to do things sooner than later, and sometimes it comes sooner, sometimes it's later, but that's the way it happens, That's the way the apple falls from the tree when it's ready, and that's what's going to sort of happen. So this is the sort of thing that you just have to really, I think, embrace and know that this is where and again, so much more is more of this internet, and none of this stuff is going away. None of it's vanishing. None of it's disappearing. It's not going away. This is a very important thing just to remember, and this is what my advice would be for you. Stop being afraid. Ask yourself, what are you truly afraid of? Are you going to have regrets in life? I've read the 5 regrets of the dying before, and one of them was, I wish I wouldn't have listened to what other people had expected of me. A dying wish. Don't be that person and just go for it. And again, don't worry about making it a full-time career right now. Just do it. Just do it. And go to street fairs and go to art markets and be that artist that is undiscovered. Be that artist that isn't even well known. Listen, if you become well known and people start following you and something happens, it's that's magic. And it's a wonderful thing if it can happen, and it happens. It's a beautiful thing. But you don't get there going that this is what I have to make happen. I got to be famous. I need everyone to recognize me. That's not how it happens. How things happen is by being effective and by putting yourself out there and doing stuff, and eventually eyeballs seek you. That's how it happens. It's not pre-planned. It's not predestined. It's just what you do is you take the action. So think about that. I hope this answers your question. And for any of you guys out there, and the person, Joe, who wanted this, he wanted to share this with me, didn't know that I was going to do this, but also just he wanted to share it with other people, his story somehow. He wanted other people to know the same fears because so many people are going through it, okay? So that's it. Make it a great week. Be sure to check out my links below and silvertunes.com. Check out the workshop schedule. I'm slowly starting to add, I'm getting lots of questions about, am I going to be doing things in the United States? I'm going to be, this is what I love. I'm going to be doing it. Once I get everything together, there's a lot of things happening right now. It'll all come when it's ready, okay? So I'm just nurturing it all. I want to take my time. I'm in no rush, and I don't want you to be either, but things are happening and going to be flowing, and just that's up to you. Make things happen. Make them flow. Just let things happen in due time when they happen, all right? Make it a great week. Take care. To subscribe to my mailing list and stay updated on future workshops and events, please go to my contact at silvertunes.com and simply hit Join Mailing List. Until the next time, make it a great week and thank you for listening.